What does the phrase generosity of spirit mean to you?
An easy way to think of this is giving folks the benefit of the doubt. So in today's Relationship Reboot, we're going to talk about this, how generosity of spirit can help all of your relationships, even with strangers. So joining us live on Skype, our relationship guru, Dr. Kirsten Lind Seal. Oh, it's good to see you, Kirsten. We know generosity of spirit is important, but I think a lot of times many of us are confused as to exactly how we're supposed to kind of do that, you know?
Right, exactly. How do you go about having a generous spirit? One way I like to think of this is it's a way of, actually, you could think of it as a way of not keeping score. Right. So if you doing something kind, saying something kind, going the extra mile or even, foot and a half for someone and not expecting anything in return, that is sort of the basic definition of generosity of spirit. And there are a bunch of different ways to think about this too, positive attribution, giving people the benefit of the doubt. The reason that I love the phrase generosity of spirit is because it just seems sort of like an overarching idea that can help us just guide how we show up in relationships.
Right. And generosity of spirit, I think a lot of times requires you to reframe how you look at something. For example,
Exactly.
If my husband is short with me for some reason, instead of just coming right back at him, maybe start thinking, well, what's going on? What's the reason behind why he's being that way? And I tell you, when I started to do that and when I started to reframe, it really helped the relationship.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. That's exactly right. One of the things that happens is we start, when we're frustrated, like say somebody doesn't do the dishes and we just think, well, they're lazy or they're a slob or they don't care. That's what we're talking about there is sort of characterological points about a person, or especially if we say that can be really hurtful, as opposed to thinking they had a really hard day, they are exhausted, so that exact flip, that reframe that you're talking about is the essence of generosity of spirit, because what you're doing is you're opening up your lens of how it feels for you and imagining what it might be like for them. And it is within that space that we really can be there for one another. And it is within that space that conflict and toxicity really, really lessen.
Ultimately, this has an impact on other people, but this is about you taking charge of the way you think of the world, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. A practice that I started about 5 years ago, and it came into my head, well, there are two different things. One is if someone, like while driving, if someone cuts me off, what I really try hard to do, and sometimes I fail at this, but what I really try hard to do is to imagine that they're rushing to see a loved one in the hospital, or they just got word of an accident happening. So that then when I reframe that, then I'm not furious at that person. And what that does is help me not have that rage rise in me for something that I have nothing to do with and have no control over. So here's another thing, that when people tailgate me, sometimes what I'll do is wave at them in the mirror, and often they'll pull back, and I think that's because they think that perhaps I know them, right? Like, oh, maybe this was my science teacher, and oops. But what's interesting about that too is what that implies is that the network of people, if when we know one another, we are kinder. Like there's all sorts of research on that, right? Which is one of the reasons why social media can be so difficult. When we are faced with a person who says, oh, I'm in such a rush. I know I cut you off, but I'm in such a rush. Even if they don't apologize, you immediately have more empathy, And, if it was your science teacher from third grade, you might be like, oh, that's too bad.
Right. And you bring up this word empathy, because I think it can sometimes go beyond that. If you have this sort of idea of generosity of spirit, then maybe you can understand someone else's experience that you've never had, their own lived experience that you've never been a part of.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. We can't, like, to say, oh, I know exactly how you feel is often not a great idea, because we really don't know exactly how someone feels, but we can make parallels. If they've lost a loved one, we mostly will probably have an idea of what that would be like to lose a loved one. If they have just been fired from a job, we may have some similar experiences like that. But really the piece around empathy is this very, very old-fashioned idea of what is it like to walk in someone else's shoes. In terms of married couples, sometimes what I invite people to do is to consider this question: what would it be like being married to me?
Oof, okay, I'm not ready for that, Kirsten. Too much.
You're going too far there.
Too far. All right, you had me and then you lost me. Good, very, very important.
Now we have a lot of empathy for our
Yes.
spouses. Yep.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Kirsten, thank you.